Okay, folks, we're back and we're going to talk a little bit about Georgia. So thanks for coming back. And we're going to talk step by step through Georgia. So Georgia's a relatively big state. It doesn't have a lot of people. It's pretty much a rural state, but they have a lot of little counties all through Georgia. And every little county can have an auction. And so I love to send people to Georgia. Everybody that I've ever sent there has made a lot of money. And the more times they go, they keep going back. And here's why. In Georgia, when you go to the auction, you raise your hand and you actually buy the deed to the property. In other words, you're buying that guy's property right then and there. However, the deed is called a redeemable deed. That means that property owner can come back and get their property back anytime within the first year. So when you buy that deed, you're just going to get a deed that looks like a piece of paper like this. Now I got a deed right here. I'll show you a deed. Okay. It's a deed that looks just like that. All right, you're going to get this deed and you're going to take it home. You're going to deed to that guy's property, but he can redeem it, or she, they can redeem the property. All right. So anytime during that year, and most people do come back in and pay, by the way, most people don't lose their property. All right. So they're going to come back in, and when they come back to pay you, they have to give you everything you paid. So 100% return of your capital plus 20%. Now I want you to think about what I just said. So if you can kind of watch my hands for a minute, right here is day one. All right, day one, tick, 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 like on 60 minutes, the clock going like that, tick, 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 all the way over to 1 year. At 1 year, if they haven't paid you, you can go ahead and foreclose. If you're my client, I tell you not to foreclose. And here's why. Because anytime during that first year that they pay you, they have to give you back all your money plus 20%. Now, 95, 97% are going to come in and pay you. So you're going to make 20%. Now, if you're not in a hurry, you don't have to start a foreclosure here, but you could threaten them and let that certificate roll over one more day, then you get 30%. So that's why I love Georgia. So anybody can go there and buy certificates. I have people that can go there and buy 4 or 5 properties. Okay. When I say buy the property, they're buying these deeds, but the deeds are redeemable. And then you just go home and wait for the people to come in and pay them. If they don't come in and pay them, so what? You get the property. How bad is that? So you're not going to go in there and spend, the value of the property, but you could go spend 10 or 20% the value. They're going to have to pay you based on what you pay. They're going to have to give you back all your money plus 20%. What kind of deal is that? So Georgia, and there's other redeemable states like there's 5 other redeemable states like that. So this is a business that's got a lot of ways to make money. On our first video, we talked about tax lien certificates. Safe, secure investment. Second video, I even showed you people that were buying property for 10 and 20 cents on the dollar, and they're making huge profits. $100,000 profits are not unusual. Now, I'm not going to tell you you're going to make $100,000, but here's what I would do if you were one of my students. I would teach you how to make 25, 50,000 on one deal. 25 to 50. Now, sometimes it's going to be 23,000. Sometimes it's going to be 27,000. But we're not trying to do $5,000 deals. This is for people that understand that they're going to be at it for a little while. So it might take you 3 months or 6 months to do it. It's not a get rich quick, but it's a business that's been around for 200 years. I personally have been doing it for 30 years myself. So that kind of gives you a little insight. So Georgia is a wonderful place to do it. And if you want to parallel with that, we could talk about Georgia for a little while. Then we go talk about Texas. It's the same kind of situation in Texas where they pay 25% in 6 months, or you get the property. So you see, it's a powerful, powerful way to make money. Really is.
I heard you say like 97% don't pay back. Is that really kind of the statistic typically, or what's the statistic for like people not actually paying back the money?
97% do come in and pay you. You get your money
do
back.
pay back. Okay, do pay back. Okay, got it. Okay, so 3%.
Only 2 or 3% end up at auction. Only 2 or 3%.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. Now, so, and then with the, so tell me a little bit about how much work is involved with this, especially with the county, what's going to be involved in that?
Okay. Well, like learning anything, you're going to have to put in a little time to do that. So that's extra. But once you're in the business, you could work comfortably 5 hours a week would be plenty. There's people that work 10 hours a month. I have clients in Costa Rica, for example, they only want to go to certain big sales. So they don't want to go to a lot of little sales. They want to try to make 50 or 100,000. So what they do is they sit in Costa Rica online and they want to go to the Los Angeles auction, or they want to go to the big auction in Houston. They're picking places where there's a lot of property, okay, and the high priced. So those people rarely work more than 4 or 5 hours a month to do this. And some of them are buying properties in Los Angeles, mind you, buying properties for less than 10 cents on the dollar. People don't believe me, but they're buying less than 10 cents on, and they get the property at the auction. But Los Angeles sale is a big one. It's huge. It's a huge sale. So the person that can research, sit on the rusty dusty and research, they're the winner in this business. It used to be everybody, oh, you got to spend hours looking at this and know about the roof and know about this. We hire people on site to do that. So if you're going to buy in Los Angeles, you're not going to go there. You hire a broker and say, look, go tell me what you can sell the property for tomorrow, not today, tomorrow. What can you sell? No 6 months. Tomorrow, what's the price? And they'll tell you what they can sell it for, because they're going to discount it way down, right? Well, that's what you want, because you're buying way down here. You're buying way down here. The property, is that what you can get for it? Okay, good. Go look at it. Give me some pictures of it. They can send you, everybody's got a telephone in their back pocket, right? So they can send you pictures of it. You can have the property checked out, look it all over. Now, is there no risk? Well, of course, there's some risk. Because I tell my people, if you watch any video that I've ever made, it'll say boots on the ground. If I'm going to spend money in New York on a property, and I think I'll spend 150 grand, I love the broker, but guess what? I'm on Southwest Airlines. I get off, rent a car, I'm driving around. So if I'm going to go to an auction there and there's 150 properties, I'll look at 30, because I'm not the only bidder. And so if I'm going to spend $100,000, so you should think the same way if you're only going to spend 8 or 10,000. Boots on the ground is important in my estimation. I have one guy that's very successful. He's bought 30 properties so far in Michigan. He doesn't sell them. He sells them on installment sale so that he has checks coming in. So he's getting 30 checks a month, and he's done 30 properties there. He's never been to Michigan. He's never been there.
He's got a boots on the ground guy.
He just has everybody go do it for him.
Yeah.
If they don't do the work, he just hires another one. So I'll give you an idea.
Yeah. We say boots on the ground too. We need boots on the ground.
Yeah. Well, you do, because, well, I'm sure you get the same problem. If you look at something, you can tell. I mean, if it's in a backwater place you can't get to, well, nobody's going to come and give you business later, right? It's going to be tough to sell. So we're not in the business of buy and hold, but we end up that way because you get a property, you get an installment sale, so you got to make sure the person keeps making the sale, keeps making the payments.
Right. Yeah. So I heard you talk about Los Angeles. Like, what are the best states to be buying like tax deeds or tax certificate? Like you said Georgia, you said Los Angeles, you said New York a couple times. Yeah.
Okay. Right now, especially in the month of August, people should be in Michigan, because they're going to have 67 sales. There's 67 counties. They're all going to sell something this month, and they all have anywhere from, I've seen a low of 20 and a high of 40 properties. So you got plenty of time to look at them. There's every available kind of property you could want. All right. Now, when Los Angeles have their sale, I would definitely say you don't have to go to Los Angeles. I'm trying to look at the date. So last one they did was October. So the end of the summer, they're going to come up with another big auction. All right. So if you're in Los Angeles County, now you're in Southern California, right? A lot of counties there. See when they have them and go to San Bernardino. I've never seen a San Bernardino sale with less than 3,000 properties. Never seen less. I have clients that have bought their tax assessed value for a residential lot in San Bernardino, tax assessed value 150. They bought it for $9,000. That's 6,000. That's 6 cents on the dollar. So you just got to look at your computer, and we teach you how to do that to figure out where you want to be. That doesn't mean you couldn't be up in Mendocino County, which is where they grow all the marijuana. And you could go there. You can go to Reno, Nevada. Reno, Nevada is going to have 30 or 40 properties every year. It's continuing. The beauty of the business is it repeats itself every single year. People don't go to tax sale just now. Every year there will be at least 5,000 tax auctions every single year. That's a lot.
So in California, it's like once a year.
Well, it's up to the county treasurer. See, the most powerful person in the government is the county treasurer. she pretty much, it's mostly women now. She pretty much decides what's going to happen. And so if they can have two auctions, they'll try to have two. Here in Florida, I like to brag and say we're pretty efficient. And if you went to Orange County, which is Orlando, they have an auction every week. Never goes more than 10 days. But that treasurer, she's onto it. You go in her office, they do it right in her office because they only have 9 or 10. They don't wait until they have 50 properties. And there are 9 or 10 properties every week. She auctions. See, keep in mind what the treasurer's job is to collect money, right? She wants those properties off the default list and tax money coming in. She knows how to run it. Now, I've seen treasurers that didn't do anything for 9 or 10 years. They end up with 3,000, 5,000 properties.
Yeah, I heard even in Georgia, like some of the counties are just like maybe a couple years, they'll just, yeah.
They don't do any work, and we have
They
no
don't
one.
do work.
Yeah, there's no checks and balances. So I mean, I can't tell you what the county's going to do, but I can tell you how to take advantage of it legally and ethically.
And how to find out when they're going to do them.
Yeah, once you find out, I mean, there's going to be some sales. I'll give you an example. In Jacksonville, they ended up with 9,000 properties on the default list. That was because they had 89-year-old treasurer, and he didn't want to take anybody's property away. So he left those people in. So a lot of those properties are just deteriorating. They're going bad. And so he passed away, and they brought in a new woman. She's about 35 years old. She said, I'll have this place cleaned up in less than a year. She was selling properties for 3 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents on the dollar. She was flexing a little muscle, let me tell you.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you put a woman in the office.
Exactly. Well, listen, I'm all for it. I mean, if they would get all the properties out there, our business will double. I mean, there's a lot of properties. The government at the county level is really, it's at 1940. They're in 1940. I mean, it's 2022.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I heard in Georgia too. There's some counties that are like the smaller counties. It's just like they are way behind. Like they just don't. It's like they don't want the money or something. I'm not understanding. I really don't understand that.
Well, here's what I haven't even mentioned, and we won't get into it. But there's 3,000 counties that can auction properties on the east coast of the United States, from Savannah to Portland, Maine. There's 1,400 municipalities. They're all taxing districts, and they all have properties to sell. Do you think they want anybody to know they got those properties? No way. Why? Because the people right there working for the government are buying them.
Oh, yeah. That's probably true. Yeah. So all these properties, you showed us like the Jacksonville newspaper, and there's like all these thousands of properties everywhere. Like, what's the due diligence? Like, how do you get access? Like, how do you look at all that? That's like a lot of properties.
Well, first of all, just dial in one place. Don't try and do it all. So let's say a person lives in Mississippi. All right. So Mississippi, if you want to buy farmland, you want to buy rangeland, open land, there's probably going to be tons of that. All right. But you don't want to buy that. So maybe you should look in the 18 counties around Atlanta, Georgia. Those are pretty robust growth counties. All right. Property's going to go down. You can do all that at your computer. So I decided I wanted to buy properties that I would have to spend $100,000 because I was hoping they'd be worth $400,000. All right. So I found those properties outside of major cities. So it wouldn't matter whether it was Los Angeles, New York, Houston. All right. So when I say Houston's a city of 6 million people. So now forget about Harris County, go to Montgomery County, go to Bend County. So you get the idea? Okay, now we do the same thing in Dallas. So you go to Dallas, Collin County, go to Tarrant County, do the ones around it. So there's going to be enough property. So you don't need it all. You can't buy them all. So why not specialize? So that happens all the time. People decide that they're going to buy in one area. Or we got people come from places like British Columbia, and they want to buy. So those people can buy online anywhere they want to buy. I had a woman in Kelowna, British Columbia. She wanted to buy, and she bought right here next to the county where I live. And she bought a property, and she spent $24,000 on the property. And within a year, 18 months, she sold it. She didn't say she was going to sell it. She bought it because she wanted to rent it. So she rented it for $800 a month. It was believe it or not, it was in an exclusive trailer park. When she got there, she turned the key, opened the door. It was completely furnished. She washed the dishes and cleaned the rugs. And her and her husband stayed there that night. She sold it for over $25,000 in profit, 100% profit, 18 months later. Meanwhile, she rented it and got a 40% return on the rental.
My name's Deb Murphy, and I'm here in Kelowna, British Columbia. I had purchased my first property. I bought it for $24,000. It'll literally sell for $70,000. I'll probably list it around 75, 76, and it'll sell. I did it all online, by phone and by computer. Ted's material showed me that I can depend on the county records, what's online as far as property appraisers records, what's online as far as all the documentation around a property, that I could depend on knowing 75% of what's going on with that property without even stepping foot on it. So there's just so much more available online, and that's why we can do it successfully now from Canada. Ted really fills out the full picture. He wants you to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So you can choose what you want to do, and you can do almost all of it online if you're willing to work on the phone and let brokers and people like that help you out.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was going to ask too, can you do this with commercial property?
Yes. People do it all the time with commercial. I don't teach commercial because there's not that much of it, but it's the exact same deal on commercial property as it is on regular property. But you have to know what your exit strategy is. So if you're going to buy commercial, why is a commercial building empty? And what are you going to do with it to change it? Because you're going to have an exit strategy. So I haven't talked about it much on this video, but I can assure you, we spend as much time on the exit strategy as we do buying. Anybody can buy property. There's so much abundance in it. There's never been a tax auction that they didn't have leftovers. There's never been one. There's always leftovers. So there's abundance on the property side because people don't know. All right, what happens is people get excited about buying, but you always have to be excited. If you want profit, you have to sell to get to the bank. So if you're a buy and hold person, I don't know if it's the best business for you until you've done it for a couple of years, until you really know what to buy and hold. I would say buy and then resell it, or buy and use owner financing. But you've got to have a way to exit. So a lot of people in this, how many people you know teaching real estate? Nobody teaches you how to make an exit. Yeah. We really emphasize the exit, because if they can exit out of that property, you can buy any way you want. Once you know an exit strategy, it'll work. So the commercial properties are very good if you know what your exit strategy is going to be. I mean, are you going to have to go and build out the offices? Are you going to be able to rent it to a commercial store? What are you going to do with it? And why is it empty? So it's very important in commercial. Yeah.
I was going to ask too. So like, just, hypothetically, I have 50 grand. So now what should I do with it?
Well, if you're very conservative, and you know you're going to be traveling, you're going to go back into you're going to go in the market. You're going to go to Georgia. So I would, every month they have an auction in Georgia. So that just find a few counties in Georgia. Find a few counties, not all. Find a few and start attending the sales there with 50 grand. If you're real conservative, then go to a place that's selling tax lien certificates. All right. Now that could be any of the big communities in Florida. It could be any one of the states like Iowa or Illinois that pays a lot of money. And when you invest in a tax lien certificate, there's a 95, 98% chance you're going to get all your money back plus a profit. So very little investment risk. So I would buy a lot of tax lien certificates at the $2,000 to $5,000 level. That's what I would do.
What's the cheapest that you've ever seen on a tax defaulted property?
Cheapest I've ever seen is a guy by the name of B.R. Baker, and I didn't believe him, but he went there and they wouldn't sell him the property. He didn't ask to buy the property, and they sold the property in Georgia to him for $316.
Oh yeah.
Hope I gave her the right number. That's a pretty cheap property, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But one of the best things I've ever seen, I'm going to tell you about on the last video. Now, wait, and I'll tell you later. But let me tell you about a couple that I haven't told you about before. So in the state of Arizona, a couple bought a tax lien certificate and they invested $11,000. Okay, now they lived in the Phoenix area, and tax certificates in Phoenix and in Arizona pay 16%. So the most they're going to make is 16%. So I always tell them, even though you're buying a tax certificate, even though you know 95, 97% you're going to get paid, go and look at it. Boots on the ground. So they drove out there. It was a condominium building on the water. Now they got $11,000 investment. So they checked around the neighborhood. They did comparables. Property is worth about $180,000. So the next year's taxes came up. They invested in that. They paid the taxes. The next year came up. They paid the taxes. The people never came in and paid them. So the judge awarded them the property. The property was worth $180,000. So they rented it first. Then they decided, why don't we take the money and buy something big? So that's just what they did. So they spent $11,000. They got all their money back on rental, and they sold it for $180,000. They took home $169,000 on an $11,000 investment.
This is life-changing. This is something that really is something you can do 10 to 12 hours a week. You can do maybe even less than that, depending on your knowledge of that particular market or that system. This is an opportunity where you can earn more than you would at a job in a matter of days, in a matter of weeks. There's not that demand for you to fit societal pressures of getting dressed in the morning and making yourself up. I mean, it sounds silly, but it's a lot of work for women to have to also put on makeup and have to wear a certain outfit. You know, this is stuff you can do from your pajamas if you want. It's a lot easier than you think. It's not so scary once you know, okay, you can just ask these questions. And yeah. We turned to Ted, we turned to all his education, we turned to the coaching staff to get the questions we have answered because they're experts.
This particular property was a very nice property, and in our opinion, nice enough to actually live in. We were in it total for $11,000.
Both of those. And we rented that at $12.25 for 15 months.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we collected all the money back from our initial investment and more.
And more.
And then after holding it as a rental for some time, then we decided, okay, the property is appreciating so quickly.
Yeah.
Phoenix was really hot. We ended up selling the property, and the sales price was?
We had a contracted sales price of $184,000, and $169,000 hit our bank account.
Pretty amazing.
That's awesome. So like when you get these properties, like are you paying like utility bills and things like this, or what's happening during that time?
Well, if it's a tax lien property, they don't kick the people out. So the people are staying in the property. If it's a tax deed property, you now own it. So you have to pay taxes. You have to pay your utilities. You're going to have to start, you should provide some security for your property. You know, whatever you have to do. It's going to be, it's just like you own the property, any property. You have to take care of it.
What happens like if they have a mortgage on the property?
At a tax lien auction or a tax deed auction, the mortgage is extinguished. It's canceled, it's deleted, it's wiped out. So every time you buy a tax lien, make sure it's got a big mortgage. Because number one, the people are going to pay you, they're going to lose it, right? But number two, the bank's going to pay you so they don't lose their loan. So you got two people to pay you on a tax lien. A guy or gal that owns it and the bank, because they don't lose it. But they lost it, like I just told you about Phoenix. The tax lien auction wipes out the mortgage or a deed of trust loan. Wipes it out. It's gone. I don't make the rules, but they're nice rules to follow, let me tell you. Now, folks, let me tell you before I go, on the 27th day of the month, I'm going to do an all-day workshop to explain tax liens and deeds. If you really want to learn this business, you want to go below me and sign up and come to that. It's a one-day event. starts at 6 in the morning and starts at 11 in the morning and goes for 6 hours. See that? I've been up too long. It goes for 6 hours. So it starts at 11, goes to 5 o'clock. You learn more than you ever could have dreamed about. I'm Ted Thomas. I'll see you there.